So today I'm going to be removing all these temperature probes from the temperature monitoring system on our off-grid battery, as all of these and the lengths of all this cable were causing it to flake out on the temperature probes. Instead, I've now got one going into the battery, and the other one is my new temperature monitoring rope, which is one line that monitors all the temperatures that are key along it, and so far without any issues. So let's get into that today. Right, for today I'm going to be doing an upgrade on the temperature probes. Before I had the waterproof probes, which work well, but the downside is the long meter and a half cable on them. Having 10-15 meters of cable on them has the downside that they start being really flaky. For some electrical reason I can't really explain. I get the general idea, I just can't explain. Someone else can probably explain in the comments. But due to that, and for the places I need a lot of them, they're 3 or 4 in a condensed space. So what I'm going to do is have these little temperature probes that you can see there. That is just the bit that's inside the waterproof probe. And I'm just going to have a load of these all spread along separate connectors. So you'll see I'll have connector, temperature probe, connector, and I can just chain them. And instead of them having a meter stretch between them, they're just going to have 30 centimeters. So yeah, I'll get to making the remaining ones of these, and then I'll properly show you what I mean back up at the off-grid power, where I'm going to attach them to the batteries and all the connectors, where I don't need as much wire. And also it will tidy up the amount of wire that I've actually used there. So yeah, just sit back and watch. So now I've got the temperature probe on there, I cover it up with a heat shrink, and then I give it a quick blast of hot air to shrink those over. Now that those are shrunken over, I'll take this one and then cover it all up. And now that it's in there, I will shrink it back over, and then that'll be one piece done. And that's one temperature probe done. Alright, that's our 7 connectors. We're going to go connect them to the ESP32 temperature monitor and see how well they perform. Hopefully, I've got them around the right way, but we'll find out. So now I've got the new temperature probes connected to the temperature monitor on the single port. If you want to see more on this project, you can check this video here. To solve the issue of multiple temperature probes bugging out when I had so many connected, I've got the single one, which can be daisy chained for temperature probe, one there, there, and finally there. So they can all be daisy chained, unplugged, replugged. So the main issue I wanted to do on this version was to address the ability to remove temperature probes, add them, and then for them to remember what ID they were under. As with the ESP32, the default settings on ESP Home said whichever temperature probe on their address based on hex came first in alphabetical order is the order that there would be 1, 2, 3, 4. This got very annoying when I needed to swap them in and out, as I want this one to always be the same temperature probe that you see here, or this one, or this one. So I've readdressed that with some really annoying faffery. Don't overly like touching C in general, but here we are. I've managed to sort it, and I'll show you an example of these new temperature probes. So here is a graph of all these temperature probes that I've set up to visualize it easily for you. So I've got all the temperatures in a graph so they can all be seen in real time going up and down. A list of all the temperatures as a raw quick to see value. And down here I've got the other bit I've improved on this temperature monitor is I've moved the error state and the warning state temperatures actually into the ESP32 rather than being in Home Assistant. So now when I move this temperature monitor around, it will remain with the sensor rather than changing IDs and faffing around in Home Assistant. So you can see here for temperature 1, it's at 25.3 degrees. It's currently not increasing. The status is normal. And the point that it becomes a warning is 29.1 degrees. The point that becomes an error is 32.3 degrees. I've got that for each of the temperature probes that you can see there. So I can quickly set on a project when I want to be notified of there is something up with one of the sensors. Or you could use it just to be notified when something hits a certain temperature. But it's mainly about error states. So I've just updated this graph so it updates quicker in real time, and I'll show you through each of the probes. So we've got this one, which you can see there, the greenish blue one, which is increasing. I'll let it become further out the top so it's much clearer on the video. You see there that it's skyrocketed out. There you go there. There's the red one that's increasing. There's the purple one starting to go up. There's the brown one. There's the yellow one. And the green one. And that would be the blue one. And that's the pink one going up. There's the light blue one. This is the only one out of the 10 that I made that is having an issue. And as you see, if it's having an issue, it's not breaking the connection for all the others. But I'd say that's pretty good success rate. I just need to have a look at what's wrong with that one. Probably a bit of dodgy wiring. I'll quickly show you an ESP Home where I've got all of the raw data along with each of the hex values, which I can move around and they will remember their state after a restart. So if I plug one in, restart it, it will remain on the slot 10, for example. If I need to reset it, I can set them back to all zeros, and then when I add a new temperature monitor, it will take the next available zero. Again, real faff, if you do want to see the code, let me know and I'll throw it on GitHub. But it's not pretty in the slightest. But yeah, as far as that all working, I'm very happy with that. With these old temperature, well, I won't say old, I'll still use them for waterproof stuff and one or two things, but I wouldn't be able to get 9 of them working without an issue. I could probably push this to 20, 30 on this length. These were starting to have an issue when I got to around 10 of them. So yeah, I'm going to get this all taken care of and moved up to the powerhouse and wire up to all the batteries and the connectors and everything, and then I'll come back to you. So while we're at it, I'm going to make some extension cables from these. So I'm going to make some 10 centimeter plus these extensions, 20 centimeter, 30, 40 and a 50. Where I can use these interchangeably to increase the length to what's desired between each of the sensors. It'll be 10 centimeters plus, what's this? Plus 15. So this will be a 25, a 35, 45, 55, 65. So I'll get these all cut to length, soldered up, and we'll head up to the power plant and get them replaced. We're back here at the powerhouse where I've got the old temperature monitor. It's worked well while it's been working. But because of the amount of cable I've got that you can see here, quite a few meters, it makes it very flaky. I'm hoping we get this one removed, reprogrammed, put it back in and replace these long temperature probes with the rope that I've made and chain them through all these. I'll do direct chain to these, then I'll make a piece that bridges across to the next piece. And I'll just do that between all the pieces. And hopefully it'll help clean up a little bit of this cable. So yeah, we'll get this removed now. Now I've got the stack torn apart where this one was on top of here and each of the connectors were in these. I can reuse all these, this and all this in separate monitoring projects. One thing I did notice is the staining on the ESP32, and that might be from where the birds were pooping all over it. So we'll use this one self-contained. Now that I got the temperature monitoring rope, I only need the one connector, maybe 2 down the line if I need more on a second rope, but we'll get this one flashed and then we'll go from there. Right, and now with that all flashed and I've got it all connected here, I'll hold this one and you'll start to see the temperature going up there. And as it's detected all 9 IDs that I got attached, I'd say that's working. So the bird pooping all over it, hasn't caused any issues yet. We'll get this one connected up in the powerhouse, and then fingers crossed we won't have any more issues and we can actually rely on it. Because that's the worst bit, is building site and you can't rely on it, then it becomes irritating to use, which it has been. So hopefully this one fixes it. Right, it's 8:30 in the morning the day after, and I've got this temperature probe hooked up where I've got one for the battery and one for the rope. And I've got it connecting via the positive terminal bridge on battery 1, the positive terminal for battery 1, the negative terminal bridge and the negative terminal, and then it heads up to the MPPT for array 1 and for array 2, and then off to inverter 1's AC out, and the negative for the battery where we head into the bus bar. And then I've kind of grouped all of these connectors into one, as I didn't want to connect a temperature probe per every one of them. I just generally want to know, are any of these terminals heating up? And then I've just got it dangling here if I want to add any more. As the new temperature monitoring setup is performing a hell of a lot better than the old one where I had 15-ish meters of cable from all the probes. Fingers crossed that this one hasn't flaked out overnight and it will just continue over the next couple months and I can just rely on it completely. And for those that haven't seen the previous video, I've got all those temperatures here for each of the things. So it's currently at 20 degrees on the battery and just below 20 on each of these where they're close to the battery, and then this one's a bit lower, along with all the other ones. The ones that will be highest is the MPPTs, not too much because of the terminal, just because these produce the most heat out of the system, where they're converting the solar power into battery power. So that's just where the heat is traveling down through this bit. But if these ever hit 80, 90 degrees, there would definitely be a problem, and I would want to look at it anyway. And having the data available is good and all, but we do of course want to actually have states where I've set up the warning temperature at 35 degrees and the error temperature at 40 degrees. And I'll probably tune that depending how these summers go, if we're getting 37, 38 degrees anyway. So yeah, you can see that all the states are currently at normal. So as a quick demo, I'm going to pick the hottest one, which will be MPPT2 for the second solar array. And I'll just put my thumb on the temperature probe and you'll see there where it's going to increase. If my thumb's hot enough. My thumb is not hot enough. I'm going to go get the hairdryer and then I'll show you properly the warning and the error states along with getting push notifications to our phones. So I've got the hairdryer here. I'm going to plug it in and I'm going to heat up the area around MPPT2 where you can see that it's 25.5 degrees, and if everything is working correctly, I should have the state change. The state should change for it when I hit 30 degrees, and I should get a notification on my phone. So after that quick blast of heat, it's at 29 degrees, and it's currently normal. And if I give it a little bit more, it'll hit warning, followed by an error. We just hit a warning where it's at 33.3 degrees. And then I'll push it over the edge to an error. And then it'll head to error in a moment. Oh, I literally just missed the target. There we hit 35 degrees and the state has now switched over to error. Right, I just needed to tweak the code a bit for the notification. I add a capital where it's meant to be a lowercase since I've changed the states, but that's why we test things. And in this case, you're seeing it live. Right, let's try that again. I did get the notification when this changed to warning and error, but due to my phone being off and it wasn't a high priority notification, it took a while to come through. Since I want to know about this immediately, I've changed that in Home Assistant. So let's give it one last try. Turn it off. We're in normal, headed into warning. I just got a notification and it headed into error where I got another notification. So that is working perfectly. And you can see that something is going wrong, MPP2 status is an error. I've got that marked, so any entity that ends in _status and it's a warning or an error, they'll send me a notification. So I can set this up for loads of different things. And now that it's gone back down below 35 degrees, I got another one for it's now in warning. So yeah, I'm well happy with this. Much tidier wiring, just the two coming from here, and then just one single rope that's monitoring the temperatures as it goes round. And it's not flaked out overnight, which was the most important thing. I've improved it as well, now that I've got high priority on the notifications. I'm much happier with this temperature monitor now. I've got two cables coming off of it, where it can monitor at the point inside the two batteries, and the temperature monitoring rope that runs all around there that you can see, instead of the massive mess of cables you saw before. So it just looks nicer, easier to see what's actually happening here, and most importantly, it doesn't flake out. And as an added benefit, I've added high priority push notifications to the system, so I actually get immediately told when something's happening with the system, as before it did take a while depending when push actually triggered. So yeah, I'm well happy with that. We will just have to see how it goes over the next couple of weeks, months and years, and with any luck, fingers crossed, that I don't have to touch it, because that's the most important bit. But yeah, I think that'll do it for today. If you enjoyed watching today, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you got any comments on what you've seen today, just let me know and I'll get back to you. But until next time.